Here we are for round 2 of our Legacy League with Blue-White Delver. We have won the die roll once again, like love to play. This hand has a lot of creatures, and one of our equipment already, unfortunately, but I think you can't really turn down a turn 1 Delver hand, especially on the play, so we're going to go ahead and keep. Our opponent kept 7 as well. So Island Delver kind of gives away some amount of information, but quite a lot of Grixis Delver players are also playing Island, and Blue-Red Delver has started to kind of pop up a little bit as well. Opponent has an Ancient Tomb. This means a Chalice of the Wood? Okay. So we're already kind of in a rough spot, but thankfully we have 2 threats in our hand that are not Chalice of the Void worthy. We will reveal the Source of Plowshares. I'm going to go ahead and play this attack for 2. So if our opponent has a Thought-Knot Seer, we might be in some rough shape here this turn. But if they do not, Batterskull is going to hit the table the following turn. That's asking for quite a bit, so we'll see how this goes. Okay, so they can definitely Thought-Knot Seer us, which is unfortunate, but not much else we can do about that. But Jitte can still potentially hit the table, so we'll definitely try to see if we can buy time with the Stoneforge Mystic in play, as well as the one in our hand. Yeah, I think our opponent is kind of priced into taking the Batterskull there just due to how dangerous it is if it hits the table. Alright, so this Flusterstorm is not looking very good. I think we're going to take... Yeah, we don't have any decisions here, actually. The decision was to vial this in versus playing in another one. I don't think playing the other one actually does a ton that we can really worry about. So our plan here, it's not a great plan, but it is a plan. Involves us, so they have the Reality Smasher, I suppose. Interesting. They're attacking first, okay. There's not going to be a block involved. Our opponent definitely has a play to make this turn. I'm just not sure what it is. Okay. That will resolve. We're going to go ahead and vial in the Jitte. And then our opponent will probably try to take this Flusterstorm in case they have a Dismember to kill our Delver. Okay, so they took the other Stoneforge Mystic. That's great. Well, the plan continues. Our opponent dies next turn unless they have a Reality Smasher. Actually, can we beat a Reality Smasher? 5, 9... Yeah, we can definitely still beat a Reality Smasher. So our opponent is dead next turn. I think... Wow, okay. Kind of powerful. This deck has impressed me so far, for sure. There's some navigating spots that I definitely need to work on, but definitely impresses me so far. So we want the Enduring Explosives, the Disenchants, and the Path to Exile, just as additional removal against our opponent on Eldrazi aggro. I don't like the Cataclysm very much. We did not necessarily see any Grim Monoliths, so I don't know if they're the bigger ramp version of Eldrazi. We saw Urborg, which leads me to think they're more... honestly, it's very difficult to kind of make any assumptions there. So let's try to see if we can board in 4 cards. These Flusterstorms all look kind of mediocre, so I'm probably going to take all of those out for these 4. The other consideration is to board in Pithing Needle and Snapcaster Mage for Eye of Ugin, although Eye of Ugin itself is very difficult to kind of work on. Snapcaster Mage is only really good with our additional Disenchant. This is one matchup where some number of Spell Pierce would be significantly better than these Flusterstorms, which is something to note for sure. Other than that, I don't really see any other swaps we want to make. We can reevaluate how we want to board on the play next game if we end up losing. Daze, I think there's always going to be an all-star against Eldrazi. They're very mana hungry and they use soul lands as part of their mana base. So being on the draw with Daze in our hand is not necessarily the worst thing. But yeah, I think this is fine. So we have an answer to Chalice of the Void, in that we can force a Lilith. We have 2 threats, but one of our equipment already in our hand. This hand is quite tough to evaluate. We are playing 19 lands in our deck. So our odds of hitting a land, if I do a quick geometric calculation. Oops. Hyper geometric calculation. So we have a population size of 53. Any land works, correct? Yes, we're not playing anything crazy, so any land works. So we have 18 successes. 53, 18 successes, the sample size, 1, number of successes, 1. Okay, not great to hit. So I think we'll be disciplined and mulligan this hand, though it could definitely be a mistake to do so. This hand I like significantly more. We will definitely top that. So we have Force of Will pitching either True-Name or Daze should we need it. That will absolutely resolve. We have Wasteland as the 1 target in our deck. Excuse me, it also hits Stoneforge Mystic, but I think that I'm definitely welcome to let this resolve. If he hits Wasteland, if they hit Wasteland, I think it's bad for us as we lose one of our best tools in the matchup, but still totally reasonable. So they play Stoneforge Mystic, which is fine. I'm going to unfortunately have to lead on the Tundra in case if they have the Wasteland, obviously it's bad for us, but I think it's worse for us if we have no immediate answer to an in-play turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer. And I want to at least leverage the ability to Swords of Plowshares it, should we need to. Cloud Post, okay. Grim Monolith. So this is something that we need to evaluate. I would not mind dazing this, just due to the fact that I think Daze quickly becomes bad otherwise. But the other problem then is we can't really deploy a threat for a little while. But Stoneforge Mystic is not actually that good of a threat. It's a 1/2 that draws us a card. And this force is going to be somewhat live regardless. So I think I'm cool with taking a turn off and just dazing this. It kind of makes it so that we don't have a threat for a very long time. And I think our opponent is fine with that as well. So this is somewhat of a play that it's forcing us to make. However, our threat on turn 2 is not very good. Just in the face of... So we could continue holding up as if the card that on these 2 cards are something that they do not know. Or we can leave up the Flooded Strand in an attempt to... Well, if they play Cloud Post, I don't think they play Wastelands of their own, so I'm going to take the risk of playing the Tundra and passing again. Alright, so they approximately have 1,000,000 mana. Thought-Knot Seer. So, unfortunately, they're going to take the True-Name Nemesis, but I want to decide here. So this is going to resolve. I want to decide here if I want to plow this on the stack or let this happen. And I think I'm going to, just due to the fact that they will likely take the True-Name Nemesis, and I can kind of force them to make that play ourselves. Now, we drew the other Force of Will. They're going to take the True-Name Nemesis because it's the only card that in our hand that does anything. Thankfully, we are playing 4 True Names. So next turn, well, that's a good draw for us for sure. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play the Stoneforge Mystic and go ahead and fetch the Jitte, because we're not going to be activating the Stoneforge Mystic anytime soon. So my normal deck, being Miracles, is significantly less proactive than this deck is, but we're playing against some matchups in which the proactivity is actually helping us quite a bit. I will unfortunately have to Force of Will this. Our game plan now kind of revolves around this hitting the table this upcoming turn. And our opponent knows about the Force of Will. All right. I'm going to go ahead and fetch out an additional Tundra in case they do play the Wasteland. I doubt it, though. Given this current draw, I will choose them. I will attack for 1. So now, the following turn, if we draw a land, we can Jitte plus equip. If we do not draw a land, we can ponder into deploy Jitte. Thought-Nutsier also resolves. They'll take their Jitte, but that's fine. It's not fine, but it is a play that is going to happen. So our opponent has 1 remaining card in their hand. I'm going to go ahead and ponder here, because then we can choose to see if we want to attack with this or not. I think we will. Now the question is if we want to draw the second source of Plowshares. I think I do. I don't, however, fancy drawing the third card down. So we'll play this and attack with the intention of fetching before we draw again. Alright, our opponent gains a lot of life. They do not have an Eye of Ugin yet, though. Is this an Ulamog? Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. Alright. That's unfortunate. But we can... In theory, we can beat that. It will be tough, but we can absolutely try. I don't know really why they took the Stoneforge Mystic there. We're likely going to be plowing this regardless, and I would like to... If we draw another True Name, I would like to deploy it. So I'm going to go ahead and plow this now. Stoneforge Mystic is not actually a card, but it's a 1. It's a 1/2. So we'll use this, grab a Batterskull, and attack again. Our opponent has no cards in hand. This is a very rough spot for us, for sure. Our opponent definitely drew a threat. Wow. This is a Walking Ballista? Seems like it could be. Sure, you have a 5/5 Walking Ballista. Alright, well... We have 3 plows in our graveyard, so if we draw a Snapcaster Mage, that'd be an excellent draw. We did not. So our opponent can pump this. It's 4 mana to put a counter on it, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 mana. So they can pump this 3 times into a 7/7 and attack. So we can attack in theory with this and block here unless they ping this twice. Okay, I think our game plan here is to hold everything back and hope to draw a land next turn. Okay. Yep, that's fine. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to vial in the Batterskull regardless there. And I think our game plan kind of revolves around us not having to... wow, okay, they drew another spell. Another Walking Ballista, another Ulamog. Okay, well, that might be asking us a lot to beat, but we will power through. Explosives. So Ulamog's going to attack. We have 39 cards left in our library. I will... Okay, our game plan here kind of revolves around us drawing either Snapcaster Mage or the 4th Source of Plowshares. So I think what I have to do... Oh, I don't even need to crack this. So here's what we'll do. We'll play this for 0. Crack it. Hold this back with the intention of blocking and hoping to rip Source of Plowshares on the following turn. We can keep this back forever, but the problem is our library dwindling. And if we mill over the 4th Source of Plowshares or the Snapcaster Mage, I don't think we can win regardless. The Ulamog will actually just mill us out. Alright, the chosen card is Scalding Tarn. Okay, that's actually quite a problem. We don't have the ability to fetch. So that's the 4th plow gone. And because we have no additional way to kill, fetch blue mana on the table, we need a land plus a Snapcaster Mage and 2 draws, and that's not possible. So we actually didn't board in the Snapcaster Mage, so I'm glad I conceded there. So do we want to change anything? I don't think Nivmagus is actually a good enough threat at all. And I kind of want to try these Meddling Mages in this matchup, just as additional threats that are somewhat disruptive. So I'm going to board out those 1-for-1. Nothing else seems really appealing to me. So we will submit. I would love to play first. This is a very controlling hand. But it has an answer Chalice of the Void. I'm going to keep this hand because the Miracles player in me would see a hand like this and immediately keep it. But I'm not convinced it's actually correct for us to keep, just due to the nature of the fact that we contain many other disruptive elements in Wasteland or a turn 1 Delver and so on. Opponent's mulligan to 5 so far, however, so that's somewhat promising. Alright. I'm going to play this and pass. If our opponent Chalice of the Voids on turn 1, they mulligan to 5 and kept a card on top. So that likely means a turn 1 play of some sort is happening. No, okay. So that makes me feel somewhat okay. So if our opponent plays a turn 2 Thought-Knot Seer, that means there's a multitude of things that they would want to take, including the True-Name Nemesis here. So what I'm actually going to do is deploy this over Mystic, entice them into... I'm going to fetch an island here, just on the off chance that they do have Wasteland, there's no reason to risk it. But I'm going to force them to want to play the Thought-Knot Seer now, and either take the Batterskull as a forced play or take the True-Name. Or they could also take the Plow if they wanted to. There are 3 really good choices, and that makes the decision difficult for them. Yep, I assumed as much. So this kind of entices them to take the Batterskull, and I vastly prefer they do versus taking these other 2 cards. So they do take the True-Name Nemesis, interesting. Alright. So we're going to take this turn off, Vial in the Batterskull, and our opponent will hit us for 4, which is totally fine. Okay, our opponent's going to hit us for more than 4. But I think it's still fine to Vial in the Batterskull with the intention of... Wow, okay. I'm just going to take 5 here. And I'm going to gain back that life. Our opponent, this actually kind of makes sense because then they get to block with the Thought-Knot if they wanted to. Oh my goodness, I misclicked. That may have cost us this entire match. I sincerely apologize for that. Man, okay. So what that means is, so that means we take an additional 5 damage here, unless I want to. I don't really want to Brainstorm because I want to hold up this Force of Will. Yikes. So that was on me for not clicking the Batterskull. I'm not used to playing this card, so I assumed that if I assumed that if I had a target, it would automatically be put into play, but that's not how Magic Online works. So that's a massive, massive punt. I think we're actually okay because they're still entitled to lead this back. And this time, however, if they do attack with both, I'll definitely block and just gain the 4 life back. I think our plan here is to still put in the Stoneforge Mystic, Force of Will, pitching, Brainstorm it should we need to. Alright, now I'm going to take the block. That misclick was somewhat unfortunate, but I will definitely take the block now. And gain back some of the life that we lost for no reason. Okay. So now we get to pitch this Force of Will. Matter Reshaper absolutely resolves. That card does not really matter that much. Okay. So now all is technically not lost. I think our opponent showed his basic wastes, so I'm going to start this turn off with a Brainstorm. This may be incorrect, but there's a very, very high upside if we hit, and we did. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back and the Disenchant back. I don't think we're going to need that this game at all. I also don't think this is going to be a Chalice of the Void game that matters. So I'm going to go ahead and pass back. There's no reason to plow now, just due to the fact that we're going to probably get hit by his Matter Reshaper regardless, and I'm not going to attack. Okay, so our opponent gains 1 life. I have no interest in risking them getting... I'm going to discard the explosives to this thing and take 3, go to 10. We have another Stoneforge Mystic on top of our library, and I definitely want to shuffle that away. So this is a Walking Ballista. For x equals 3. Take 3, go to 7. Hold up Force, blue card. He'll kill this. Okay, I'm gonna let this resolve. Let this resolve due to the fact that I can path it. That's fine. And I still have Stoneforge Mystic back to redeploy the Batterskull should I need it. Alright, that's fine. On his end step, I'm going to go ahead and fetch. They'll ping us for 1. We'll go to 8. Okay. And we still have Force of Will blue card. So I don't hate our spot necessarily, but it's still kind of dicey. I'm definitely going to play this True-Name Nemesis because it stabilizes the board. Our opponent has a lot of mana. This is likely an Umezawa, which will probably kill one of these two. All is dust. I'm going to pitch the other Force of Will. I don't think we're going to ever be able to force again. And our opponent has no cards in hand. Alright. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to play this Wasteland. I'm going to kill one of these temples. I'm just going to dump my hand here. I will attack for 3 because I think we're winning the race regardless. If our opponent attacks, if our opponent top decks Reality Smasher, of course, that's not great for us, but he looks like they did in fact top deck a Reality Smasher or an Endbringer. Okay. Also not ideal by any means, but so now this is an important point. If our opponent gets to untap with the Endbringer, we might have to lead back the True-Name Nemesis, I think, which is actually totally fine to do, and I'm willing to take the damage here. So we actually want to draw a land in the spot, or a spell to flip it over, one of the two. Force of Will, that's actually the worst. That is not good at all. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So we unfortunately need to leave this back and just attack with the Delver. The reason being, our opponent can't really do anything with the True-Name Nemesis, and we can still kill them on the following turn. Our opponent, we just have to kind of hope that they miss this draw step. It's possible that they don't, and they have several numerous draws that just completely murder us, but we're hoping that they don't. It's a very, very close game. It would not have been close if I had, unfortunately, not misclicked earlier, but it's definitely going to be a very close game. Okay. So, force blocks. I'm going to block here, and I'm going to block here. That's where I'm going to block, and then before damage, I'm going to put in the Jitte. We took no damage there, and they drew a Vesuva, which means they cut to copy the Glimmer Post. We won. Well, suppose not actually, because then target creature can't attack or block this turn, which is what they'll probably use this for. So unfortunately, we have to cast this. We have to vote for the Endbringer. They will. The force play here is they make this not be able to attack or block. Okay. We 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we die to Walking Ballista no matter what, because they can make it into an 8/8 and then hit us, or excuse me, a 4/4 and kill us. So the question here is if I want to attack, and I think I do. in that if we go to 1, 1 is not 0, and the only 1 damage that they can deal is with Walking Ballista. Reality Smasher kills us regardless, unless I can put everything in front of it. Actually, if they top deck Reality Smasher, we can block. We only have 3 toughness in front of 5. In front of 5, 6, 7, 8 power. So we have... I think that's attacking with the True-Name Nemesis. It is kind of something that we absolutely have to do. We can't beat Reality Smasher or Walking Ballista, but we can beat anything else because the Mana Reshaper only attacks for 3, and we're not going to block. We're also not going to block because we don't want to give him additional outs, which would draw him an additional card here. So we're just kind of crossing our fingers. Wow, okay, excellent. We managed to somehow pull back from that horrific punt that we made earlier in this game, but that match was actually very interesting and very, very close. So I'm kind of happy with the way I kind of recouped those spots after the punt had been made, but the punt was obviously not ideal by any means. Thank you for watching. We'll be back for round 3 here shortly.